Hello and welcome back to Platypus Scotsman. Unless this is your first visit, then welcome aboard and hope you enjoy this tutorial. I am going to venture into sci-fi. I want to do more sci-fi in the future, but this is a project I want to do for a long time. I would like to give the person credit who came up with this idea, but I've had it in my reference folder for so long I don't know who it is. So whoever you are out there, thank you for this idea, but I want to make a fan, or an industrial fan for a complex, and I have a few more ideas that I want to do along this line in the future, but this is the route I'm going, and kind of excited to do sci-fi. It's been one of my favorite genres. I used to play a lot when I was a kid, played Gamma World and things like that when I was a kid, and a lot of things we played actually were all made up because some of the game systems didn't exist. Kind of showing my age a little bit, but anyway, I want to go down this path and hope you enjoy it, and let's go. Okay, so we're gonna make a fan. These are 1/2-inch I-beams from Plastrux. Yeah, this is just a piece of plumbing pipe, ruler. These are, I don't remember how big of fans these are. It's been too long ago. They are 3-inch fans. I've already dismantled one, so we're gonna move this guy out. This is what it comes like before I dismantle it. And then these are 1/8-inch I-beams. So what I wanna do right now is I wanna make a mount for inside of here for this fan. It's just going to be a simple X, just an I-beam here and I-beam here. I'm going to use these 1/2-inch I-beams to go across like this, I think is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to make one that's 3 inches, and then I'm going to glue one that's side to side, and I'm just going to use this mat as a kind of like my square. Actually, I think this is 3.5. Yeah, it's 3.5. Since it's tapered inside here, or it's beveled, I'm going to make it just shy of 3.5. So that works. Now I'm going to cut a piece here and a piece there and glue them in. Well, glue it to this. So on each end there's about 1 1/8 inch, and I'm going to just eyeball it and glue it in the middle. I'm going to use gel super glue, Loctite. I've already marked it. There's the cut. This is hanging off 1 1/8 inch, just like these are, and hopefully it works. Now I just gotta let it dry and see if it fits. I cut 2 I-beams approximately 3 inches in height. I trimmed the back off of this so it could butt up right against that right there. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna draw a line on the back and then just eyeball it and cut it out. So there I have it right there. Alright, these are cut out now. I'm going to glue them on. Just eyeballed the cut and just kept comparing it to it until I got it right. I measured a 1/2 inch in. So I'm going to place this in there now. I'm not going to glue it in right away. I'm going to use a different glue this time, but I want to line it up. I'm just going to eyeball it best I can. Just rotate it to where it makes an X behind there. I think an X behind there is more interesting than a plus sign. And then I'm just going to tap each piece down. I'm just going to use some Loctite super glue. It's not gel. That way I can just kind of dab it on here and it'll run and seep into the cracks better. All right, I want to make some walkways and different things around it, so I'm going to take some craft metal. I just got this in the hobby store. It comes in a roll, and you can cut it with scissors or an X-Acto blade. It's going to toast your X-Acto blade when you do, but so I'm just going to cut this one down. Okay, since this is 12 inches long, I'm gonna make two 6-inch pieces. Just go on each side. Now these are Plastruck, they're I-beams, they're 1/8 inch I-beams. I'm gonna use these for the supports underneath. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm cutting some 1/8 inch pieces of sheets off of a sheet styrene. It's 0.5 millimeters thick. It's from Evergreen scale models. And I just went ahead and made some tick marks of 1/8 of an inch each. And it just so happens that this is 6 inches wide, so that's perfect. So I'm just using a new X-Acto knife blade. So it's nice and sharp. I'm not pressing very hard on the first pass. And if it doesn't go all the way through, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I'll break it off. There you go. I would like to use gel instead of this, but I don't have any gel right now. I need to go to the store. I've been using a lot lately. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just glue this. Put some glue on here. Then I'm going to take one of these I-beams. Line that up and then just hold it down and hopefully I don't glue it to the green mat. I guess I could have put it on parchment paper because it has silicone in it and might be able to peel off easier, but we'll see. Okay, so I've glued more on, but a couple tricks I just picked up is I'm going to put some glue on this first. Now I think gel glue would work a lot better, but I'm impatient. I get excited over some things and I just want to kind of see how it goes. And then I pin it down with an X-Acto blade, line it up to where I want it, bring the I-beam in, sorry my hand's in the way. And then hold it down. And make sure I hold the sides down flat too, so it's all flat. Now before it dries too much, I found that some of the glue leaks, so I try to move it around just to make sure it's not sticking. And then I'll go back to holding it down again. Whoops. I went ahead and cut some more sheet styrene out of the same thickness. And I just want to kind of put some things on here to give it more character. Plus I want to give the impression there's a hatchway right here. So I'm just going to kind of bend it a little bit. Now this, I'm just going to eyeball it. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and then I'm going to throw some other pieces on too. Now I'm going to use some 1/16 rod and make some hinges. I'm just going to cut some small pieces off and glue at the top. Okay, what I'm doing for the handles, I just cut one of my little I-beams in half and have the flat side or the wide side up top, and then just eyeballing it, centering it. One thing to note on pieces like this and also on the edges like this, I go back with the super glue, and on this one I do it on the inside to reinforce everything, just to make sure I got enough glue on there. That way I don't have any problems later. And once these are dry, I'll do the same with these as well. I'm gonna make some supports for this. I cut some 3/16 I-beams. I'm gonna glue them on the bottom of here, but I want some 45s to go along here, so I'm just using my board right here. And just gonna cut some 45s. So now that the supports are glued on, I'm gonna attach this to the side, and then I'm gonna put some supports here, a support here to secure it more. And I'll make sure it's level. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make some a ladder for here and a ladder for over here. And I'm gonna do it just like this. And I know that's a sloppy way to do it, but I'm fine with that. So what I did is I just went through and I marked 1/2-inch tick marks on here. And then I just used my X-Acto knife and I'm gonna just make a hole. If you have a drill, you can do the same thing, but I'm fine with just using an X-Acto blade. Make sure you don't go through your finger. And then I'm using 1/16 rod. Okay, what I've done is I've drilled all the holes, like this one here. I've stuck them through, both rails are in there. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on this one right here. And just shove it through like that. And what I'll do is it'll adhere, and then I can be able to do the rest. Now I could have easily made a jig for this, and I've done jigs in the past, but I didn't want to be honest. Anyway, so what I've done here is this side's dry, and I've just barely exposed all those tips right there. And I'm gonna go through and put glue on them, and then I'm gonna pull this side of the ladder out to where it adheres to the glue. And like I've done on other parts, once this is kind of dry a little bit, I'll come back with the glue and put more glue on it, so it just gives it more strength. There you go, one ladder. And I'll go ahead and finish the other one. So I'm gonna run a bead of glue on this side right here, and this will be the part that goes up against the I-beam. And then I'm gonna guess where the other one should be. One thing to note is I didn't start at the very bottom. I left the gap, and I also let these go up a little bit higher. Just when you climb ladders, at least what I do, or seeing things like this, I've tended to see that they extend a little bit further, so you have handholds. So that's why I did that. I'm going to do a wash of brown iron oxide over the whole thing, mix some water, and just going to start dabbing. And if it starts to clump up too much, or if I don't want, if it pools, or if it's too thick, I'll just add water to my brush and go back over it, but it looks like it's going to be fine. Kind of want to be fast with this so I don't have streak marks or line marks, or bathtub rings. And I'll just go ahead and do this and get back with you. The wash is now dry, and I want to apply more rust to it, so I'm going to use the same color, and I just got a cheap foam paint. I don't know, can't remember the crap it's called. Anyway, I tore the front of it apart just so it could not distribute evenly. I want it to be erratic, but I want to have a little bit of control on it. You can also use the old inserts of old miniatures too. These to come with foam like this as well. What I'm doing is just trying to hit more of the edges. I'll hit other places sporadically, but I want to hit the edges where, I don't know, it just seems like, to me, that's where the rust would be. If not, it looks good. And then I'll also hit the top of where they walk up the ladder, or use the ladder. I'll use the most worn areas. I've now made a it's not really a wash, but it's really watered down paint, the same color. And now what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm being very selective on where I want to apply the rust. I want rust here a little bit more. So what I'm doing is just kind of following the edge. And then I'm going to wipe it away a little bit so it's not overpowering, but I want it in the crease because it kind of looks odd that the crease, or where the metal is touching metal, is still kind of barren, as far as it's still kind of the original paint. Just kind of looks odd. So that's what I'm doing here. Especially around the hinges. You can ask the people who paint with me. Once I start painting, it's really hard for me to talk. I kind of shut up. So to talk and do this at the same time, and especially to try to get it on camera, it's a little bit difficult. So bear with me, please. And then what I'm going to do here is I want to streak these, and I'm just using the same paint. I'm going to use probably several different colors, and then I'll wipe it away and I'll layer it, because rust and everything in nature works in layers. It just doesn't all happen at once. And plus, if it starts to look, if I can't get a straight line by wiping it away, it kind of forces that. And also too, when you wipe it away, sometimes if you let it dry just a little bit, you'll have that bathtub ring that I call it, where the edges dry a little bit. Oh, and these pieces right here are those little things I just free-handed off camera. Just little triangles, painted in black first. Then did some squiggly lines underneath just to kind of fake the writing. And sometimes by not having very much paint on it, and also kind of being a little bit runnier, your streaks, I don't know, I like them better. There's all kinds of ways. You can actually buy paints to do this too. They're designed to do this. It's just, I grew up not having those types of options. So I err on the cheap side. And you kind of get used to doing something that you're comfortable with. Another thing too is on these walkways, go along here and darken up the edge. It just looks better because you're having that contrast. And if you get some on top like that, like I just did, just wipe it off. And the original wash didn't seep in here well enough, so I kind of want to have that be really rusty because there's going to be water that's going to pool there. All right, I'm going to use some Agrax Earthshade just to darken some places up. I'm not going to put it in very many places, or I'm not going to do it very liberally either. I kind of want to be a little bit more precise. But you see how that's fat at the end right there? If you just kind of grab it with your finger and pull it, you can cure that problem. You can also use a dry brush or an actual dry brush. All right, I'm gonna go around and just really sporadically do Druchii Violet. I'm doing this instead of non-oil. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stipple really light terracotta, hardly any at all actually, just so all the rust isn't one solid color. I'm gonna go around with burnt umbar and do the bottoms. Kind of a dry brush stipple type of situation. Just the very bottom where it would come in contact with whatever industrial complex it's part of. All right, so there you have it. That's a wrap on that video. Hope you enjoyed it. There's a few things that occurred during the video. I gotta figure out my GoPro. I don't know what's going on. I've had some problems, some technical difficulties with it when the light blinks, but there's only audio and no video. The video freezes, so I think it's the slow battery. So I'm gonna have to check my battery more often. Luckily I have 5 and I'll just check them and charge them and check them and charge them, I guess. But anyway, one of the things that didn't occur was the main paint of this piece and how it happened. So what I did is I used this satin cinnamon and I spray painted the entire thing. And like I said before, I sanded the whole thing. I filed some of the seams down to get them smooth before I ever did it, because I wanted the glue and the paint to adhere to it. It was very shiny, very polished. And by doing 220 grit sandpaper over the whole thing, made it so it adhered better. And then what I did is I used this satin moss green and came down on a 45 on the whole thing. So if you pick it up like so, the underside is more rust color than the upper side. I learned that from Guerrilla Games, from Ash, in one of his videos, and I've done it on some other pieces, and I really like it. And so I applied it to this to see what it was like. That's pretty much it. I think that's what was missing out of the video. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and let me know what you think. Or if you have any questions on on anything I used, or any processes that I may have skipped, because I tend to close my mouth when I'm painting and I don't talk a lot, as some friends will attest to, which is not a good thing, but that just happens. If you like the channel and you enjoy the content, I'd very much appreciate if you subscribe to us. If not, that's cool too, and maybe somewhere down the road we can produce something that you'll like enough to subscribe to the channel. And also like it if you enjoy this, and it helps us when you do those sorts of things as far as organic growth, because it's, as a little guy, YouTube doesn't favor the little guy anymore. And also you can find us on Instagram at Platypus Scotsman, and that's where we have a lot of our pictures as far as our portfolio. You can go see these things that we have made, and also other things that we do and other activities. You can also find us on Twitter at Platypus Scotsman, and that's where I'm going to post a lot of notifications when this comes out, or these things come out, and other things that I've done, and other things that we've done. You can also contact us at platypusscotsman@gmail.com if you want to contact us that way as well. Can't think of much else to say other than I believe what my mother used to always say, that anyone can do art. Ciao.